It is not on right now, so step one, turn it on, and then just
Okay, yeah. All right.
we'll just leave it on.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't really see any council members.
Huh?
Oh, there's Gwen and Antoinette.
Yeah. There's the way.
We might not start right.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. All right. Again, good morning. I'm Bill Durr. I'm board president for the Asheville Downtown Association, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our State of Downtown update. All of you reach out just a little bit, about 16 inches or so in front of you, and yes, it's true, you are not looking at a monitor. It is wonderful to see each and every one of you in person, and thank you very much for coming. I want to begin by thanking our longtime presenting sponsor for this event, First Bank. We sincerely appreciate First Bank's continued support. Please welcome Rusty Edwards, Regional Executive Senior Vice President with First Bank, to say a few words of welcome. Rusty?
Thank you, Bill, and good morning, and welcome to the annual State of Downtown Luncheon. I am Rusty Edwards, the Regional Executive for First Bank across Western North Carolina. As Bill shared, we are a longtime partner of not only the Asheville Downtown Association, but of many of our businesses and residents across Asheville and Buncombe County. A little bit about First Bank. Our mission is to help our customers achieve their dreams and our communities thrive even in very challenging times like we've been through over the past 2.5 years. In recent years, First Bank has been recognized by Forbes, Fortune, and S&P as one of the top community banks, not only in the state of North Carolina, but across our nation. This year, we're very excited about our new branches that will be converting to First Bank on March 18th in Silva, Franklin, and Highlands, as well as our new corporate initiative project launch. In Project Launch, First Bank has committed to giving away $500,000 to help improve and provide opportunities for education across the Carolinas. This is of particular importance as we deal with the after effects of the pandemic and learners of all ages, and we can't wait to see the new programs and projects that Project Launch will provide to the state of North Carolina. So thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be part of this great event. Bill, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Rusty, and thank you to all of our First Bank representatives here today. First Bank is such a wonderful community partner. I also want to thank the Harris Cherokee Center staff for their support of the State of Downtown Luncheon. I learned earlier this morning that some of these folks were here until roughly about 2 a.m. this morning, because if you had not heard, there was a SoCon tournament in town. So some of those folks turned around and came right back to set up the room for us, so we greatly appreciate their efforts. We have limited tickets today. For those of you who are many frequent attendees at this event, if you look around the room, we're a few less than we normally are. We tried to provide a little bit of increased distancing for everyone. We are also recording today's luncheon for folks who are unable to attend. I want to acknowledge and welcome our Vice Mayor, City Council members, as well as our City Manager who are here today. Thank you all very much for attending. Of course, a special welcome to Mayor Esther Manheimer and Buncombe County Commissioner Chair Brownie Newman. You will hear from each of them later in the program. I also want to acknowledge and thank our Board of Directors. This is a group of volunteers representing many different types of businesses and interests. The last 2 years have been challenging, but this board remained dedicated to ensuring the Asheville Downtown Association was able to continue its program of work. I'm honored to be a part of this wonderful group, and thank you all for your service. If you are a current 2022 board member, I'd ask that you please stand to be recognized. Thank you. In December, we welcomed 5 new board members. Noor Edwards with Asheville Discount Pharmacy, Noor is here. Dexter Hazel with the Aloft Hotel. I'm not sure if I saw Dexter or not. Jessica Hendricks with the MCA, Jessica, is in the back. She was at our greeting table. Jill Lieberman with Adapt PR. Jill is also in the back. Thank you, Jill. And Daniel Young with the YMI. Daniel, thank you. There are many exciting things happening in downtown Asheville. One which I wish to recognize today is the YMI's capital campaign to restore the 129-year-old facility and expand cultural preservation for all citizens. As one of the oldest African-American cultural centers in the United States, the YMI is an essential institution in our downtown. The YMI has been, and with the planned restoration project will remain, an essential component of a thriving and vibrant Asheville. Now for a special recognition, I'd like to invite our immediate past president, Tommy Dennison, to the podium. Tommy?
Good afternoon, or I guess I should say still good morning. As Bill mentioned, my name is Tommy Dennison, past president here at the Asheville Downtown Association, and I have the pleasure of highlighting two outstanding individuals in their service to the Asheville Downtown Association. So please hold your applause until we announce them both, but first I'd like to recognize Bryant Korzinski, who's been an integral part of our events committee, as well as what I would call, all of us would call, a super volunteer. There hasn't been an event that Brian wasn't volunteering at in my 6 years of service with the ADA. Second, I'd like to recognize David McCartney of Hotel Aris, who's been an integral part of our issues committee and always been eager to give back to our community, not only through his time at the ADA, but through his work with McKibben Hospitality as well. So let's recognize Bryant and David for their amazing board service. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Folks, it's also very important for us to recognize Tommy for his service as board president both in 2020 and in 2021. I think he holds the distinction, and hopefully it will never be broken, of having, I believe, one in-person meeting in 2 years for the board of directors. I am certain that he thought his tenure as board president would be much different, but thanks to his leadership and positivity, we were able to sustain the Asheville Downtown Association through what hopefully has been the worst of the pandemic. Thank you, Tommy. So like 2020, 2021 proved to be a difficult year for our association and for the downtown business community. However, we think it's important to highlight a few of our accomplishments over the prior year. First, we extended membership for current members by 18 months throughout the pandemic because we believe it was important to keep members engaged. Last year at our virtual State of Downtown Luncheon, we announced that we would offer complimentary memberships for any business in the downtown area. We had 42 businesses take advantage of that offer. We were only able to hold one Downtown After 5 event last July. If you were there, it was a memorable one. We had planned to host the August and September events, but decided to cancel those as the Delta variant was peaking in Buncombe County. We were also able to hold the Asheville Holiday Parade in November. These events are important because they provide cultural and recreational opportunities, as well as building a sense of community and supporting local businesses. Through the Asheville Downtown Association Foundation, with the support of the association and Mountain BizWorks, we were able to provide 7 $2,500 grants to BIPOC-owned businesses in our downtown. These included 2 barbershops, a food cart, 2 retail stores, a yoga studio, and a tech business. Moving on to our 2022 priorities. Our priorities include, first, strengthening the advocacy efforts for our members and the downtown community. As we get back to normal activities, we recognize that we need to do a better job giving our members a voice in local government. We will focus on member engagement. We've been so disconnected over the last 2 years that we are going to focus on reconnecting with our members, connecting our members to each other, and building our member benefits program. Finally, we will be bringing back events. We're going to focus on making them beneficial to our local community by continuing our nonprofit partner program, hiring local service providers whenever possible, and working exclusively with local food vendors. We also want to be sure that everyone feels welcome at our events by ensuring we have diversity in entertainment, selected vendors, and among our volunteers. And finally, before I cede control of this microphone to our Executive Director, Megan Rogers, I want to take just a minute to recognize Megan's 10-year anniversary with the Asheville Downtown Association. On behalf of the board, I want to thank you for your amazing leadership, dedication, and passion for downtown Asheville and our members. Megan, we greatly appreciate you and all that you do for the Asheville Downtown Association. Thank you again, folks, and I'm going to now turn over the program to Megan.
All right, good morning. Thank you, Bill. Before I get into our survey results, which is where I'll spend the bulk of my time, I just want to add on to something that Bill said about events. We are excited to bring back that slate of events here in 2022. They're not just fun, they're actually an economic driver for our businesses, and particularly those who were impacted by event cancellations over the course of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I believe that these events can be a part of our economic recovery, but also our emotional recovery as we're able to gather together with our neighbors and friends. So to that end, I am excited to announce that we have hired an event manager. She's here today, Claire Greer in the back there. She'll be joining. Yeah. Very excited to have a partner, and Claire brings a lot of experience and skills and relationships and connections. She's also served on our board for almost 3 years now, so I'm just excited to have a partner again and to work with Claire over the next several years. So I will move on to the survey. Sorry, I went too fast. We had 101 responses to the survey. This one was focused on downtown businesses. We do hope to have a resident survey coming up soon. We want to work with some partners. You know, our membership is about 90% businesses, so I think in order to do a proper resident survey, we need to work with some folks like DARN and some other organizations. I'm not going to go through all the questions, don't worry, but I am going to touch on some key highlights, and this data has been shared with some key city staff already, and following this meeting, I will share the results with our city council members, our Buncombe County Commission members, and we'll also post it to our website. So just a quick caveat, our Downtown Association members are a diverse group with solo entrepreneurs, small locally owned shops and restaurants, and also bigger businesses like hotels and banks. So while there's a lot of agreement that our downtown should be safe and clean, there's also a lot of differences in opinions in how we get there. So it can sometimes be a challenge to adequately represent these varying opinions. So here you see a breakdown of the types of businesses who responded to the survey. We saw that retail, gallery, and food and beverage businesses made up about 60% of our responses. And looking through the results, we also saw that half, maybe a little over half of the businesses that responded are small businesses with 10 or fewer employees. So we'll start with just a couple of COVID-19 related questions. We see some generally hopeful news here. We saw that, again, over half of the respondents indicate that their revenue is either back to or exceeding pre-pandemic levels, with another 18% or so who are still down by about 1 to 10%. We did have 2 businesses who replied that their revenues are still down more than 50%. We also see that about half of those businesses are back to fully staffed, so that's pretty good news, though 20% do indicate that they're struggling to fill their open positions. So I think we're all aware that downtown and our community are facing some very serious challenges. We're seeing an unprecedented overlap of issues: a homelessness crisis, a drug epidemic, mental health crisis, staffing shortages, and government, social services, resource providers, all exacerbated by a global pandemic. So it's not surprising that when we asked respondents to rank the issues that impact their business the most, we see that reducing homelessness and increasing outreach services and enhancing safety and reducing crime and improving cleanliness rise to the top. And of course, we see parking because, right, it's not an ADA meeting if we don't talk about parking. I think I said that last year and maybe the year before as well. I think it's important to note, though, that when people identify parking as a challenge, it's affordable parking options for their employees. That's an important note to make. So we'll dig into some of these bigger issues. The concern around homelessness has been the prevalent concern lately, and we all know that homelessness is a complex issue and it can be quite polarizing in our community. I sometimes see that the business community is unfairly labeled as uncompassionate, but what I find when I read through our survey comments and when I talk to people is that most businesses fall somewhere in the middle of those polarizing opinions. They understand that housing and shelter options with wraparound services are the only proven solutions to ending homelessness. They want to see long-term, sustainable, cost-effective solutions that get people connected to the resources they need to get into housing, but they also want to see short-term relief for some of the growing concerns we're facing right now. I'm going to get into more of that as I recap the results in a bit. So we'll talk about some of the questions we asked around homelessness. We asked if people are supportive of an emergency or high-access shelter. And here you can see that about half of respondents indicated yes, with another 27% who said they were unsure. To me, this says we need more education and discussion around this issue. More than half of respondents also indicated that they would consider hiring someone who is either currently or formerly homeless, as long as there was a program in place that supports both the employee and the employer. And here you see 37% saying they're unsure. Again, I think we can see that this means we need to talk more about what this means and get some more education in our community. We see a lot of support for an alternative approach to responding issues that are often related to homelessness. More than 75% indicated support. This is programs like Buncombe County's Community Paramedic Program, which I believe Commissioner Newman is going to talk about. Restrooms. We see a lot of support for 24/7 permanent public restroom facilities in our downtown as a matter of public health and dignity. 75% of folks, about 75%, indicated their support for that, with about 15% that were kind of a like yes but or a yes and, as long as restroom facilities are properly maintained and monitored. When we asked people to rank how safe they feel in our downtown, we saw it come in at about a 3.5 out of 5 during the daytime, but that number does drop to just below 2, about a 1.9 during the nighttime. When we asked people to identify their top concerns regarding safety in our downtown, responses certainly included things like criminal activity, but they also included pedestrian safety and speeding vehicles and the need for more lighting. So I think we have to keep in mind that people think about safety in different ways. When we ask them to rank these top issues that we hear most often, we see that concerns around crime and criminal activity rise to the top, with decreased police presence coming in a very close second. We asked people, we have not asked this question this way before, so I can't benchmark it for you, but cleanliness is definitely becoming more and more of an issue. And we asked people to rank how clean they feel downtown is on a daily basis. That did come in at just above 2, so not great. In an effort to be part of that solution, we're bringing back Downtown Cleanup Day. That's going to be Tuesday, April 19th, and this effort is in partnership with the City of Asheville, Asheville Greenworks, and Beloved Asheville, and we'll share more details how you and your business can participate in that soon. We also asked about development-related issues. These ranked pretty closely together. As you can see, they're almost equal, with the need for affordable and workforce housing coming in on top, and an infrastructure plan to keep pace with development coming in a very close second. When we asked about infrastructure issues, we also see, again, pretty close responses, with improving pedestrian safety and the installation of public restroom facilities coming in on top. So, to recap, what we're hearing and what we see in the results from the survey is that we need to increase funding and frequency for downtown cleanliness. We need permanent 24/7 access public restroom facilities. We need additional downtown outreach outreach workers to connect people who are unhoused to resources. We need dedicated downtown officers who understand the complex challenges of a downtown environment, and we need to support programs like the county's community paramedic program to expand so that they're also responding to mental health calls and people experiencing homelessness. So, no doubt, again, we are a community facing serious, complex, overlapping issues, but we're also a community of compassionate and resilient people who want to see their downtown and their community succeed and remain vibrant and healthy. So, I'm going to switch gears and share with you that the Asheville Downtown Association is launching a project today to showcase the importance of our downtown. The intention of this project is to make the case for investing in downtown from both a financial and a human resources perspective to support our small businesses and to preserve and protect the unique culture of our downtown. This project includes two components: an economic analysis that does the math and shows the value of our downtown and how it impacts the entire region, and a series of videos that, through storytelling, reconnect our citizens with downtown and remind us that downtown is our shared neighborhood. Here's a sneak peek of what we're working on, and I want to thank Urban 3, who I don't think they were able to be here today, but they did the research and created these graphics for us. So forgive me for just a minute, but we're going to nerd out on some numbers. Over the past 20 years, we've seen the value of our downtown, this is based on property taxes, grow from 4% of the city's total value to over 11%. Here you see that breakdown showing over across the county, with the large spikes representing downtown. And as we dig just a little bit deeper, here you see it as it relates to the city. And again, the big spikes are our downtown. And to better understand those spikes, we can dig a little bit deeper and show you that one of the tall spike there represents Hotel Eris, coming in at 119 million per acre, 21 Battery Park at 64 million per acre, and Mission Hospital there at 18 million per acre. So keep in mind that about 40% of our city's general fund comes from property taxes. This means that downtown accounts for a significant amount of that income. The CBD, Central Business District, accounts for 1.2% of the city's total land area, but 11% of the total value. This creates a productivity ratio of 1 to 8.5. And what this means, I had to ask what that meant, is that an average acre of land in our downtown is 8.5 times more valuable than an average acre in the rest of the city. Since 2002, so almost 20 years, the CBD has grown in total value by a factor of 10.5, while the city has increased by 3.9 and the county by 3.6. This next slide was interesting to me. It's not something I knew. Out of the 96,000 jobs that are based in Nashville, about 20% or 1/5 of those are based in downtown. And you can see a breakdown of what those jobs are with public administration, no surprises there with our city and county governments based in downtown, then lodging and food service, professional services, and retail make up the bigger spikes that you're seeing there. We also have a one-sheeter on your table where you can see this graph. So we show these values not to say that downtown is better than any other part of the city, but that it's important to the health and success of our entire region. With downtown goes the rest of Western North Carolina, and we need investment, both public and private, to ensure that our downtown remains vibrant and healthy. The second component of this project is storytelling, reconnecting our citizens with their downtown. We often hear from locals that they don't come downtown anymore for a variety of reasons. We want to change that, and we want to remind our citizens that downtown is for all of us. So I would like to invite up Caleb Owolabi of 30 to 300 Productions to introduce this teaser video that serves as a setup for a series we're hoping to work on with Caleb and his team. And I just want to especially thank them because they put this video together in about 2 weeks for us, which is a pretty short amount of time. So Caleb, come on up.
Thank you. Thank you, Megan, and the Downtown Association. It's a pleasure just to be able to do something like this because I think about 2 years ago I was thinking of wouldn't it be amazing to create some kind of video that shows the vibrancy of Asheville, particularly downtown Asheville, and just, being able to do this kind of fulfilled that dream for me. And, seeing the unity in this room it's quite palpable, that so many people would, come together to on behalf of downtown Asheville after everything we've been through. So I hope that in this video you see just how amazing this downtown is, and without further ado, let's roll it. Maybe we could dim the lights a little bit. Okay. Welcome to downtown Asheville, a city bustling with Art Deco at every corner, food, breweries, and a whole host of other exciting things. Join me, your host, Caleb Owalabi, as I explore the importance of downtown. Welcome to Asheville.
Downtown's important for a lot of reasons. It's the center of government, of commerce, economic activity for all of Western North Carolina. But it's also where we gather, where we celebrate holidays, and it's where we discover music and art and culture and theater. It should be important to everyone because we all have a vested interest in seeing it succeed.
Downtown Asheville is important to me because it is the epicenter of Buncombe County. And our goal really is to serve all of Buncombe County, every single community. But this is the epicenter of our county. So we want to be at the center of the county because we want to be at the center of human services.
Asheville is important just because it's like a hub with a lot of people and a lot of opportunity.
We were born downtown. So in 1994, we were in a basement. It feels like a new chapter for the brewery and a continuation of telling stories that can kind of collide the surge of the 20s and then the surge of the 90s when Asheville and downtown is kind of reborn.
As a resident, it's great that I can walk to so many things that I need. And as a business owner, it's nice for me because I also work out of my home. It's nice for me to be in the heart of the city.
I came here back in 1997.
97.
Yeah, and I graduated from UNC Asheville, and I took over this restaurant back in 2012.
In regards to homelessness in Asheville, with Homeward Bound, not only sheltering them, but also giving them the support that they need.
We preserve the African American culture in downtown Asheville. We're one of the oldest still standing and operating African American cultural institutions in the nation. And so it's important that we preserve our place and build on the legacy of the four founders of this agency.
I was able to experience a plethora of things in downtown Asheville, North Carolina. And it's so exciting that I want you to experience it too. Our city, our community, downtown Asheville.
Okay, thank you so much, Caleb. His director, Elijah, is here with us today as well. Thank you both. It's been such a pleasure to work with you. We hope that we can continue to work with Caleb and his team as we build this series of videos, but also continue to go into the economic analysis. If you're interested in learning more about that or helping us out, working with us on it, we'd love to talk to you. It's now my pleasure to turn things over to Mayor Manheimer for her presentation. Come on up, Mayor.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, that's the part where you, all right, okay. Yes, thank you. I know, it's been like, what, 2 years? Okay, since we've been doing this. So it's a pleasure to be back here. Megan promised me that after the survey results, we would have an uplifting moment. Caleb, you delivered, that was terrific. Thank you for that. All right, let's get started. First, let me reintroduce to you your Asheville City Council, and I'm not doing this just because it's International Women's Day, but they are here. Ladies, if you would stand up just so everyone can see you. I know we've got folks all around the room. You're right, yeah. It looks like we have a full house of all council, and then we'll be sitting here all till whenever tonight. All right, downtown. As Yogi Berra said famously, nobody comes here anymore, it's too busy, or something along those lines. So our downtown Asheville is thriving, and here are some images of it. But I'm here today to talk to you about some challenges we're experiencing. I'm going to talk about that first. Normally when I come to this event, it hasn't been in person for a couple of years, but every year we have a lot of great things to share with you, a lot of good news to talk about. We always have one major challenge, and that's always been the pit of despair, or AKA the bowl of opportunity or hope, bowl of hope, whatever, the pit across the street. And it's still there, and we're not talking about that today. But this year we do have a few more challenges on our plate, and we want to lean into that and talk about that for just a bit here. Okay, the first thing I'm going to talk to you about, as per your survey results, is homelessness in Asheville. Homelessness in Asheville during COVID has reached what I would consider to be a crisis. Homelessness has always been a challenge in Asheville, but I wouldn't say that it has always been a crisis. This is a snapshot, shows you the point-in-time count results from last year's point-in-time count of those experiencing homelessness. What was interesting about it, and it's hard to see on this little chart here, is that our numbers as of last year were actually kind of stable. We don't have the results of the point-in-time count yet. They'll come out later this month. So I would expect to see those numbers go up. I'm assuming they will. This also kind of gives you a breakdown of who is experiencing homelessness in Asheville. For example, you can see of the 527 people, 188 of them are veterans. One reason we might see that here in Asheville is we do have the Veterans Administration here, the VA hospital, which is a great provider of services for those vets experiencing homelessness, but we also see folks that come to Asheville seeking those services as well. So let's talk a little bit about homelessness initiatives. I want to just set the stage here for you. This is pretty much my full-time job right now, studying this challenge. And one of the things that has become crystal clear to me in the last 2 years is when people say this is a complex issue, that's not even the half of it. Cities in North Carolina do not directly provide services to those experiencing homelessness. That's not how we're set up. We have 2 employees in the city of Asheville that work on this issue. What we are is a convener. We are a collaborator. We have to bring together all the folks that are providing services in our community, nonprofit, faith-based institutions, other institutions, and bring them together and try to figure out who's doing what and how is it working and who are they helping and what are the missing pieces. And that weakness of that kind of a structure has become very apparent in the last 2 years. So I know we've gotten a lot of criticism from folks around hiring a consultant around this issue, but let me say, first of all, Dogwood is paying for this consultant, and it was actually Dogwood's suggestion to do this, and I think it is a good one, because when we look at the continuum of care for folks who are experiencing homelessness, we don't have all the answers and we don't know where all the gaps are. How come if someone is experiencing homelessness and maybe they have a mental health challenge or they have a substance abuse disorder, how come it's so hard to get someone like that temporarily or permanently housed and into treatment? What's the problem? Where are the gaps? Where are we missing? So I'm hopeful that through this process, we'll be able to understand better how to be a better collaborator, a better convener of services in our community. This slide shows you some of the things that we stepped up and did during COVID. We had to pivot. It's like turning a battleship, and we did it. And on the next slide, I'm going to show you as well some other things that happened during COVID. Our shelters were greatly hampered by COVID. They couldn't take in all the folks they normally could because of COVID. This city actually housed people in this building right here. And then we moved people into hotels. And from that, we were actually able to get housing for some folks through that process. We also, this city council has already voted to help fund Homeward Bound in their Days Inn project. The city has also assigned a contract to purchase the Ramada Inn to specifically build permanent supportive housing. What does that mean? What's permanent supportive housing? It's voucher funded, so a federal program to fund housing for those who are transitioning out of homelessness and into housing, but without wraparound services would fall right back out of housing. They cannot stay housed unless there is some sort of support services. So we have really stepped into this. We learned all about it, and we're helping fund it. We also have before us right now federal relief money, millions of dollars of federal relief money that folks have come to us with applications to better serve our community. The city council's weighing it right now. We'll make funding decisions soon. And many of those applications are also additional services that would help either house or provide services to those experiencing homelessness. Okay, on the dovetails of this challenge, I want to talk to you about reimagining public safety and why does this fit together? This fits together because right now the city, and when it comes to responding to challenges or problems that are surrounding issues of homelessness, we have the police department. We also have the fire department, and those are emergency responders. But what we're finding is that is not adequate, and that is not what this compassionate community wants to see as our only way to respond to this crisis. So we are exploring a number of different concepts, a high access shelter. The county, and I think Brownie will talk a little bit about this, has refunded the Behavioral Health Urgent Care Center on Biltmore Avenue, which is able to take folks in that are dealing with mental health issues on an emergency basis. We just consolidated the 911 call center between the city and the county. And this is important because when the county launches their community paramedic program, which Brownie will talk about, you've got to have an integrated call center so that if someone says, I've got a person who's just experienced an overdose, the police need to go there and make sure the scene is safe, but you really need a community paramedic there to help that person and find them resources. Because right now, what do we have? Right now, a police officer responds, and what can they do? They can take you to the hospital, they can take you to the jail. We need to be able to have community paramedics that can take you to a high access shelter. That is a better way for us to be responding to this challenge. We've also, in reimagining public safety, tried to take from the police department a lot of things that don't require a police officer. So if it's a noise complaint or an animal control complaint or things like that, Ben Woody, where are you? Ben has said, I'll take it. So he's picked, what else can we give Ben? So that we can help alleviate some of the things that police officers are having to deal with. We get over 2,000 calls a year on noise alone. You guys are, sensitive to, that's fine. It's just a lot of work to take care of it. We also launched a community engagement division in the police department, and this happened right in the beginning of 2021, so that our officers can work in the community and bring better community safety through this engagement division. But let's talk about the police department. We're missing a bunch of officers in the police department right now, and that is another big challenge for our community. This council has fully funded this police department, and we are working with them to help reinstate their staffing levels. We've funded the hiring of Epic, a recruiter, to help bring in new officer recruits, and we also gave them significant pay raises so that while they're in training and then once they enter the force, they're seeing higher salaries and throughout the force. This wasn't just true for police. We also did the same for all city employees, including fire as well. And I have said to the chief, if there is something else you need from us, we are there to support you and we are there to provide it. So please let us know what else can help assist you in rebuilding those numbers. The last class I swore in, which wasn't too long ago, there were 10 graduates, And I got to tell you, they were from all over the place. And one of the main reasons they wanted to come here to Asheville is because we're totally awesome. And that's because of you guys. So keep it up because it's helping our recruiting efforts. Cleanliness. You can ask our city manager. I have talked to her about cleanliness, 100 times? This is a huge issue. It's a huge issue for me, for you, for our council. This is an important issue for our town. Not looking so good during COVID. And now we're coming out of COVID. It is spring. We have visitors. I was at SoCon. It was a mob scene. We need to make sure that we are clean and we are prepared for us to enjoy this community so we don't have to experience it, and also for our visitors and to help us thrive and your businesses thrive. So, here are some current efforts that we've got going on around cleanliness. I think, I want to point out some of the challenges here is that normally we would have had our community partners that help us with cleanliness that we didn't really realize we relied on so much until they all went away during COVID. So, let's give a hand to all these groups that have gotten out there and cleaned this place up recently, and they're back at it. So we need to do more, and we have put together some short-term and long-term strategies around this. We talked about this at a council meeting recently, and the manager is continuing to work with staff on bringing forward more ideas around how to better improve this. It really is, you were looking at me like, hey, it's pretty basic, and it is pretty basic. It's more trash cans. It's picking up the trash more. It's cleaning up the parks. It's more frequent power washing. It's all the things that help make the community cleaner. But we also want to work on a messaging campaign. We need all of us to participate in this. I'm not naming names, but I was walking down the street the other day and somebody's cardboard boxes were blowing all over the place. Okay, so we need to make sure our communications with our downtown businesses are clear about waste, taking care of waste, taking care of recycling, and then also all across our community. We've done initiatives around things like graffiti. We've done initiatives around pedestrian safety. I think we can introduce this concept and message it and try to build it back up again. Okay, now I'm going to shift gears slightly, and we're back to Ben here on the Noise Ordinance. So one of the things that we did do, because we're reviewing a bunch of stuff, is we adopted a noise ordinance this year. I don't know if any of you came to the meeting, but boy, it was our only in-person, I think, meeting this summer, and about 300 people showed up to talk about the noise ordinance, which is just a small fraction of the number of people that answered the survey about it. So we have our new noise ordinance in place, and we're monitoring it to see how it's working out. And we have a system for folks to report noise incidents. You don't just have to email council anymore. Now you can report noise complaints so that they can be handled by Ben's folks. We also lifted the hotel moratorium and put in place a new hotel zoning ordinance, which creates a hotel zoning overlay where if you're a hotel developer and you want to build, if you're in the overlay and you pay into the community benefits table and otherwise meet all the requirements, you can use a by right process, meaning you don't come to city council for approval. We put this system in place because what was happening was every single hotel developer had to come to council under conditional zoning. We ended up in this one-on-one negotiation, because that's what a conditional zoning application is like. And it was inconsistent, it was disjointed, and it was frustrating for all parties involved, including, I think, the community. So under this system, we have now, that we put in place, we've had 9 hotels apply, and 6 of them are 35 or fewer rooms. The total rooms for all 9 is 345 new lodging units. 8 of the 9 chose to do that by right process I just told you about. And the net result is over $1 million to be paid into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund and or our reparations fund. We created a continuing funding model for affordable housing and reparations through this system. This is good. It is good, yes. And it's super innovative. I don't know of another city doing anything like this. We're looking at this same concept for apartment developers to be able to take advantage of. Right now, they have to do the same CZ, conditional zoning application process. We have one tonight, the Avery. And I know this council is interested in looking at a similar format for, and they're nodding at me. You're nodding at me. You're not good. You're nodding at me. Good. I told our city attorney, how fast can we do that? Apparently not really, really fast, but hopefully pretty soon. So speaking of affordable housing, the city's gotten really aggressive with redeveloping its own land into affordable housing. And the first project that has happened is 360 Hilliard. That was our old parks maintenance facility, and it's been built into affordable housing. We also, on this list, you'll see we've partnered with the Housing Authority to redevelop Lee Walker into what's now Maple Crest at Lee Walker. We just recently funded the Haywood Street Congregation's housing project of affordable housing. We purchased the Talbert, we call it the Talbert lot. It's a lot next to the transit center on Cox, and we're going to be looking at a mixed-use development there. But this is just to give you a flavor for where we're trying to go with affordable housing. And we're not talking about all the different tools in our toolbox on affordable housing, but we have tried to build out as many possible ways to either take city land and build it into affordable housing, fund nonprofits like Mountain Housing Opportunities or Haywood Street to build affordable housing, or incentivize private developers to either fund or build affordable housing themselves. Okay, Pack Square Visioning and Improvements, AKA the former location of the Vance Monument. We are working now on hiring a project manager to help garner the community's input around this to develop a concept for what will be built there in the future. This all assumes we win in the Court of Appeals and possibly the Supreme Court if we have to get there. But that's, you know what, we've been there before, and we can we can do it. But we will be visioning for this location regardless of the outcome of that case. That case only concerns whether or not the Vance Monument will stay or go permanently. Just everyone wait for that. That hearing was recently in February. Okay, South Slope Visioning Plan. Right now, there is a draft plan for the South Slope, and you can take the survey regarding the draft plan until March 28th. So look for that. And does everybody know where the South Slope is? Raise your hand. Everybody knows how? Because when we started this, 10 years ago, they were like, what's the South Slope? What part of town is that? But now everybody knows, so that's great. All right, let's talk a little bit about improvements downtown. We have been hard at work. The Haywood streetscape is awesome. Is it not awesome? It is awesome, okay? I don't think, right. If there was one silver lining to COVID, it was getting this thing knocked out lickety-split. So, so that is great. The urban trail reinvestment, this is phenomenal. Moving some of the pieces around, I mean, this is a really fun project, and I think it's great for our city. Got to replace some and put some in other places. And if Steph Munsendahl were here, we'd give her a big hand. Yay, Steph Munsendahl, if you're not here, but okay. Some repaving projects. I never thought I'd get so excited about repaving projects, but they're awesome. So we're working on a lot of that. These are some of the highlighted ones in downtown. Stormwater improvements as well. Not something you think about a lot until you're driving through a massive puddle during a storm. We could do stormwater projects in Asheville all the time and not be done with stormwater projects, right? That's right. But we are working hard at knocking them out. Okay, you guys want to talk about restrooms. I want to talk about restrooms. Everybody wants to talk about restrooms, so we're saving the best for last here. I mean, I don't remember if I've ever had to talk about, I'm told you're supposed to say restroom, not bathroom, right? Okay, restroom. So we've got an issue with restrooms. We have some public restrooms available. We have right now before council one of the many what we call ARPA grant proposals or whatever we're calling them. That's the federal money. One of them is the Portland Portaloo. Am I saying it right? Or the Portland Loo. The Portland Loo, which is, look it up, it's an innovative restroom. So you can look at that. What makes the Portland Loo important is that it's indestructible, because guess what people like to do to restrooms? Destroy them, which is costing a lot of money. And so you have to staff them and you have to retrofit them so someone can't actually rip the toilet off the wall or whatever they want to do to it. So I'm not saying anyone would do that, but it can happen. So it's been a challenge about reopening the Haywood Street restrooms, because they need to be staffed. And they probably need to be retrofitted so that they are more indestructible, because they are not. So you guys have been sending us, we have been getting emails about restrooms, and we do have that ask in front of us. So, one of the questions I've got and that I've asked staff to look at is, what is the most cost-effective thing? Should we just open Haywood Street restrooms again? Should we figure out how to retrofit those and staff them? Or do we invest in something like the Portland Loo and go that direction? I went down a rabbit hole and read many articles about that, and seems like there's some divided opinions, but we will get to the bottom of it, no pun intended, and figure that out. And speaking of restrooms, just kidding. I mean little kid restrooms. I'm just kidding. But do you not see kids jumping? All right, anyway. So Splashville, as you can imagine, requires quite a lot of maintenance. It is chlorinated, okay, everybody? So it is back online, and it's got these super cool lights now. So everyone, when you get a chance, please get to go enjoy Splashville. I wouldn't get in it, but you could take a look at it. And that concludes my presentation. If you want to know more, there is so much more to know on our city's website. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor. And now it's my pleasure to welcome Buncombe County Commission Chair, Brownie Newman. Come on up, Brownie. Thank you. Should be all good.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you today. It's great to be back in person for this annual event. I understand the past 2 years has been an extremely challenging time for everyone, as we've all wrestled with how to navigate our way through the COVID-19 pandemic. I am very grateful to all the businesses and organizations that have worked very hard over the last 2 years to keep your employees and your customers safe through what has been an unprecedented experience in all of our lifetimes. While we've learned that it's not possible to predict how COVID will change over time, we are optimistic that with a high percentage of our community vaccinated, as well as the development of other safe and highly effective antiviral medications that are now available, we are at much less risk going forward of our medical system being overwhelmed, as it has been several times during the pandemic. We now have tools to prevent COVID from developing into an illness severe enough to require hospitalizations in the vast majority of cases. Even as we've wrestled with the challenges of COVID, in many ways, our downtown has experienced a tremendous amount of successes you've heard about today. Downtown businesses continue to have as many or more guests as any time in our past. People travel from across the country to visit Asheville because of our beautiful mountains, national forests, the Blue Ridge Parkway, and because we have one of the most vibrant and interesting downtowns of any small city in America. The challenges we face, from wear and tear on our infrastructure to homelessness, are not new challenges, but they have been exacerbated by the confluence of the COVID-19 pandemic, the opioid pandemic, and a growing affordable housing crisis in our community. Each of these are significant challenges on their own, but together they are placing greater stress on our community. While many aspects of the development review process, infrastructure management, and public services in the downtown fall under the City Council's jurisdiction, as we just heard from the mayor, I appreciate the chance to share some information about the county's role in issues facing downtown. There are 4 key areas I wanted to touch on where county services and policies are important, including behavioral health services, that is, services related to mental health and substance use disorders, operation of the county's 911 system and the county's emergency management services, homelessness services, and new strategies to address the acute shortage of affordable housing in Asheville and Buncombe County. The City of Asheville is the lead entity in the HUD continuum of care for homelessness, but the county has been and will continue to be a partner in efforts to address homelessness. Buncombe County is the lead local government organization to support and help our residents with regards to behavioral health, which is oftentimes a primary factor in homelessness. The efforts to address these concerns span across various departments and offices in the county. Recently, the county's made a concerted effort to strategically coordinate these efforts, not only across county departments, but across jurisdictions and with our partners. These activities center around leadership, coordination, and support. Some of these efforts are long-standing, but the items bolded on this slide are new initiatives that the county is strategically developing and investing in. Through the support of Dogwood Trust, the county has hired a behavioral health manager and analyst who will help coordinate, develop, and implement new strategies to address homelessness in our community. The county commissioners have also recently added the community paramedicine program to our emergency services department. There are now 2 teams that are dispatched through the Consolidated 911 Center who are focused on responding to substance use disorders, this substance use disorder crisis in our community. One team focuses on post-overdose response, and the second team provides medication-assisted treatment to those who battle with opioid use disorder. Emergency services would also like to add a third team that would focus on homelessness outreach. This team would be dispatched to support our unhoused in crisis and allow the other 2 teams more time to handle the growing substance use-related calls for support. Like many businesses and organizations, the county faces challenges recruiting and retaining valuable staff. For this reason, the commissioners have increased our funding for EMS and 911 so we can boost pay for our staff, build out the new community paramedics team, and acquire new ambulances and rapid response vehicles to improve our responses to the increasing 911 call volumes. The county commissioners have also this year invested over $1 million to contract with RHA in order to restore the Behavioral Health Urgent Center at 356 Biltmore Avenue as a facility that operates 24 hours a day. The center provides a place for those in crisis with mental health, substance use, or addiction to come for support and treatment. It's also an option for our first responders and law enforcement personnel to transport those suffering with substance use disorder or mental health needs as an alternative to the jail and/or the emergency room. This slide provides an overview of some of the other county funding for homelessness services in our community. It's critical to prioritize these efforts and projects in a way that sets a foundation and fills the gaps to ensure success for our residents. The important components in this sequence are to receive, respond, and provide relief. This is also the foundation of the county efforts to reimagine how we respond to public safety concerns in our community. The county is also supporting the development of a crisis intervention team to improve the outcomes of these encounters. CIT programs create connections between law enforcement, mental health providers, hospital emergency services, and individuals with mental illness and their families. Through community partnerships and intensive training, CIT improves communication, identifies mental health resources for those in crisis, and ensures officer and community safety. Buncombe County Justice Services works with law enforcement agencies to coordinate training for officers, and this gives police officers more tools to do their job safely and effectively. Chronic homelessness is used to describe those who have experienced homelessness for at least a year or repeatedly while struggling with a disabling condition such as a serious mental health issue, substance use disorder, or physical disability. As Esther mentioned, according to the 2021 point in time count, there were 154 individuals who were chronically homeless in Buncombe County. You've already heard about the Days In project, which Esther mentioned. This has been a great collaboration over many years to develop this project between the city and the county, Dogwood Trust, and many other partners. And we're excited to see this project go forward, as well as the Ramada Inn project, which between the two will make a significant difference in reducing the percentage of chronically homeless in our community. The affordable housing crisis is not just about addressing homelessness, though. It's a broader challenge affecting our workforce, senior citizens, the disabled, and others on limited or fixed incomes. The shortage of affordable housing impacts everyone from the single mom working in a service sector job who cannot find an apartment they can afford to rent, to workers with jobs that earn middle-class salaries but who find that homes for sale in our community are still priced beyond their financial reach. Buncombe County has faced a shortage of affordable housing for a long time, but it has been exacerbated over the last several years as ever greater numbers of folks move to our community and pushing up pressure on the prices of our homes and apartment markets. According to the Bowen report, the single greatest housing gap is for affordable apartments. The report indicates that our county has a gap of almost 3,200 apartments with rents that would be affordable to workers who make 80% of area median income or below. The county currently supports affordable housing through favorable land use policies, homeowner down payment assistance programs, tenant rental assistance, and direct investment in new construction of projects that include affordable housing. Investments in affordable housing has been an area where really the city has been the strongest leader among local governments in support of new developments. In recent years, the county has increased our investment in affordable housing to $2.5 million per year from our general fund, which enables around 125 new affordable units to be annually constructed, such as the recently completed Maple Crest Apartments in downtown. The county's Affordable Housing Committee is recommending that the county significantly expand our work on this priority issue, including support to construct 1,850 new affordable apartments by 2030, which would more than double the number of new affordable units that are constructed each year and reduce the gap we have for affordable apartments in our community by 57%. While implementing this plan will not completely solve the affordable housing needs in our community, it will mean that the availability of affordable housing for our workforce will increase each year going forward. And to jumpstart these efforts, the county has invested $8 million of our $26 million of National Recovery Act funding into new construction for affordable housing. Our committee is recommending that the county increase our investment to $60 million between now and 2030. A key part of the county's strategy is to partner with developers to make greater utilization of the national 4% affordable housing tax credit program, which we estimate would leverage an additional $120 million in equity for affordable housing construction in our county over that period of time. The county is also beginning to redevelop several underutilized properties, county-owned properties in the downtown area, including several parcels that the county owns on or near Cox Avenue across from the downtown transit center. All will be redeveloped with a primary emphasis on affordable residential units. And the county commissioners will be taking up a vote on the proposed affordable housing goals at our next meeting on March 15th. So if this is an issue you're interested in, please feel free to share your perspective with the commissioners. Thank you again for the opportunity to be with you today. We have an amazing downtown community. While we face many challenges, I believe that by working together and innovating, we can create an even more interesting, attractive, and livable downtown for all the members of our community. Thanks for the chance to be with you today.
Thank you again, Mayor Manheimer, County Chair Newman. Thank you very much. We appreciate those presentations. This concludes our event today. I do want to thank everyone again for coming out and being in person. Please recommend it to your friends and family if they were unable to attend, that they can watch the recording. I do want to mention two items. One, our first Downtown After 5 event in April. Please make sure that you come out. And also stay tuned for what I believe will be a very special event announcement that will happen tomorrow. So watch for that event announcement tomorrow. Thank you all very much. Have a great rest of your week. And thank you again to First Bank. Thank you.